Hey guys, Wrestling Throwdown here. I'm Haley and I'm here alone tonight, but that is okay because it's going to be a great show anyways. We're here to talk about Smackdown, and I'm so sorry about yesterday if you were watching live. You can blame AT&T for that. Sorry about that. Randy Orton starts off, and he pretty much says that it's not over with him and Roman. And I guess the whole Triple H and Roman thing are out of the question now. I don't know if they're going to continue doing that. They were supposed to do it. That was the rumors for quite a while, that it was supposed to be Triple H versus Roman at Night of Champions, but I guess they want to continue with this feud. And I'm feeling it. I really like this feud. It's getting Randy to be more aggressive and finally show his old streak that everyone fell in love with. And that's why people loved Randy in the first place, is to get this violent and mean streak out. He's so, he's not boring. He's a very good wrestler, and he's not boring. He can cut promos and everything. It's just, it depends on if the creative team let him show his character, this side of him that people love to see, and it's up to that and them, and obviously they're feeling it now, and they're letting him to shine out more, and I love it. I love it. I love everything about it. But he just says pretty much that he's won the battle. Roman's won the battle, but not the war, and this is not over. And that he will get his revenge, and he will, deal with Roman later on in the night. But first he has to have a match with RVD. And he says that he's going to take all his aggression out on RVD later on tonight. The segment was pretty good. The promo was very good. Randy is a very good talker. I was actually surprised Roman didn't come out. It was actually Seth came out, but that was for his match next. They shook hands, the future and the current of the WWE. And I still have a feeling they're going to feud, but Roman and Randy, I am excited for this second match that they're going to have at Night of Champions. I really hope they put something in this, like some kind of stipulation in it, like a no falls count anywhere or something like that, because I have a feeling at Hell in a Cell they're going to have some kind of cage match or something to end their feud, because I don't see them, unless Randy loses both matches, but since they're doing this feud now, I have a feeling Randy might win the next one, and then Roman's going to win the third one, and then, but it could be a possibility that Roman's going to win all three, or whatever, or two, for however long they feud, just to, really build up Roman, obviously, for WrestleMania. Next is Seth Rollins versus Jack Swagger. They had a little feud disagreement at not Money in the Bank, sorry about that, main event. And backstage, pretty much, he says that Jack Swagger should feel pretty much ashamed of himself, and that he let down all of America and everything for leaving. And Jack Swagger didn't like that, obviously. He called him out and said that, oh, I see you don't have Kane with you tonight, and you got your big boy pants on now, which was hilarious. And he pretty much said that he wants to fight him, and Seth agreed, and he said, I'm not fighting you tonight, I'm fighting you on Smackdown, and obviously they fought. And Seth won. And now with Jack Swagger, the matches he's losing recently, I was kind of worried about him, but then I'm not at the same time, because how he's losing, he's not tapping out, and he's not losing by a pinfall. He's losing by like a counter or him passing out. He's not really getting like a clean, I guess. People aren't really getting like huge clean. I mean, there's still clean victories, but they're not like real victories. If you get what I mean. So obviously they're trying to think. I think they might think they're trying to do something with him, especially since now they're having him feud with Bo Dallas. Speaking of Bo Dallas, he does come out later on in that match, after the match, and says pretty much that he can be America's new sweetheart, and that Jack Swagger let everyone down, and that he is a loser pretty much, and he just needs to believe and look for you in the eye and believe. I think this feud can work. I definitely do. They got some kind of, their gimmicks can go very well together, and I hope that they actually do something with this. Now, as for who's going to come out on top of this feud, both of them technically need it, but I think Jack needs it more than Bo, because Bo is still fairly new in the WWE, the main roster. He needs to just kind of let Jack Swagger, you know, push up a bit, especially for this face turn. And if they're not going to have Zeb Coulter with them anymore, I don't know if Zeb Coulter is going to come back. I'm not really sure. There's been talk about it. But it looks like for the time being, Jack Swagger is going to be by himself, and he is going to, they're going to work on his talking. And he has been getting better at his talking since he's been a face. I know a lot of people like him as heel, and they don't think this is going to work. But I say give him a chance, you know. I think this can really be his time to shine since this whole face turn. I really enjoyed the face turn. I think he needed something different to shine his character out and make him different because he's been heel his whole WWE career. So I really think this is a nice change for him, and I think he can do something with it. The fans are behind him. You know, so why not? I mean, yeah, it's a little bit different now that he doesn't have Zeb Coulter with him, but I still think the fans are going to be behind him no matter what. I do want to talk about Seth though for a minute here. You guys know how much I love Seth. He's my favorite wrestler on the roster right now. I want to talk a little bit about his ego. And this is outside the ring. I'm not talking about his character, so I guess I'm talking about Colby Lopez here for a minute here. I know I talked about on TNA about Davey Richards' ego, me and Joe did, and we said that he can kind of become a jerk backstage. He's pretty much an asshole backstage. And Seth, I'm not trying to say that he's like an asshole backstage, but he has had some problems backstage, and he seems to have kind of a mouth on him. And see, he likes to say that I've watched a few of his interviews and stuff, and I heard on the documentary, my brother told me he watched the Shield documentary, he told me that they were saying that Seth had problems when he went to NXT. He came up to NXT, and he said that he didn't even deserve to be there. Like, he needed to be on the main roster. He was too good for NXT. And that might be true. Prince Deviant and Kenta and Kevin Steen are too good for NXT too, but they have to get used to the WWE time, like their schedule and everything. So even if he was so good, and he is very good, I'm not gonna lie, I think he's the best on the roster. He has to learn to deal with some of this stuff. You know, I know he thinks he's great. He is great. But and I've heard nothing but good things about him. I've heard he's a sweetheart in real life, and I heard people really enjoy. He's very good with the fans. He takes pictures and everything. He's a really nice guy in real life. But his ego backstage is just, I don't know. I feel like he's going to rub off someone the wrong way, and that's not good. I mean, I know he's, you know, up there now in the main roster and everything, but he's just getting to be too cocky, and that's not going to be good for him, and I'm kind of worried about him that maybe Vince is not going to like it or Triple H isn't going to like it, and they might kill his push. I mean, if they're smart, they're not going to, but attitude, you got to have a good attitude backstage. I mean, that's the problem with Randy Orton. You know, with him not liking Roman, him and Roman having problems, and him and Kofi when Kofi was pushing, you got to have a good attitude backstage. You can't be all like, I'm better than everyone else, even if it's true, you know? Like I said, Seth is one of the best on the roster right now, if not the best. He backs it up, and I get where he's coming from, but it's just like, you can't be a sarcastic asshole. You can't be, you know. And I know people are probably going to be surprised about this because I love Seth, and I'm kind of a little bit, you know, bashing him right now. And I'm not trying to bash him. I love the guy. He's extremely talented. I've loved him since ROH, since he was Tyler Black. But it's just like, he's going to have to learn to put a muzzle on his mouth. He's going to have to learn to just get along with people and just kind of almost just, even if he doesn't like someone backstage. I mean, it's kind of like Alberto Del Rio. That's the reason why he got fired. Someone said something, instead of walking away and letting it go. I know it was a racial, it might have been a racism remark and stuff like that, but it's just like, you got to let stuff go. You can't be like that because you can get fired. You can get, you know. So I think Seth really needs to, or / Colby Lopez really needs to work on his ego. I still love the guy and everything, and I heard he's a sweetheart, but he really needs to, when it comes to wrestling and everything like that, he needs to start getting along with people and not be so much like Randy Orton, you know, because Randy Orton's kind of got that too, and he thinks he's better than everyone else, look too, and attitude, and it's not good. It's not good. It might be true that you might be one of the best, and everything. Well, you are one of the best, but it's just you have to have respect for people with the whole Big Show thing. It's just you gotta have respect for people. The Miz backstage, he talks to Kane and he says, "You wanted to see me, and if this isn't about my rematch for the Intercontinental title, well then you can just kiss my ass and you can talk to my agent." That's pretty much what he said. And Kane's just like, "No, this isn't about your match. I wasn't gonna give you a match." And then Miz calls him a freak, and Kane, that obviously upsets Kane, and he says, "Well, since you really want a match so much, I'm going to put you in a match with the guy who super punched you last week on SmackDown, Roman Reigns." So he makes Miz versus Roman Reigns for the later on tonight. Dolph wasn't here tonight. They didn't continue this feud or anything like that. I'm sure they'll continue it on Raw. I'm sure Miz and Dolph are going to have another match at Night of Champions. At least I think they are. I feel like they are. I mean, it's not going to just end abruptly because Miz did win against Dolph Ziggler, and he hasn't had, I mean, it might have been a cheap win, obviously, but he still won. So he technically should get a rematch. So we'll see where that goes and what they're going to do with that, if they're going to do some kind of stipulation, special thing, I don't know. But hopefully they continue this feud because it's just, I wouldn't like it to just end abruptly. It wouldn't make sense. The next is pretty much a squasher match. It's just Rusev versus Sin Cara. Real fast match. Pretty much Rusev destroys him, and then Mark Henry comes out and says, "I thought you learned your lesson, but I guess not." And I guess I'm going to have to teach you a lesson. And he gets in the ring, and then Mark Henry, Rusev gets out of the ring. He's all scared and everything. And Lana says that he's being disrespectful and everything. And Mark Henry's just like, "Oh, this isn't over yet," and blah, blah, blah. So obviously just continuing with their new feud and everything. I don't know how this is going to go. I still don't say Mark Henry's going to beat Rusev. It wouldn't make sense because he needs to put over younger talent. He's getting up in age. And just there's so many other people that can get Rusev's undefeated streak away. Like Jack Swagger was a really good one. I'm kind of upset that they didn't do that. But, there still is time. He could come back, and if Rusev gets the U.S. title, Jack Swagger still could come back and win the U.S. title. And I hope he does because, Jack Swagger deserves that. I'm not saying he's amazing or everything, but he is a good wrestler. He is. And, I just want people to finally see that about him. RVD is backstage with Renee, and she asks him about the match and if he's ready. He says, "I feel great, and Randy needs to chill out, and he's obsessed with this whole Roman thing, and he needs to just focus on our match later tonight." And that obviously Randy didn't like that. And Randy attacked him from behind. And then this led to him saying, when he gets up, "Tell him I'm waiting for a match." And then their match happens. And Randy, it wasn't even a match. Randy pretty much destroyed RVD. They went right outside the ring, and it was a count out, so both men were counted out, so it was a normal contest. And Randy just destroys them, does a DDT outside the ring, and then he brings a chair in, and then he does an RKO off of it. And, he mimics RVD. And Randy, he looked really, really strong last night. They're just finally doing something with him. They're finally showing this crazy side to him again. And it looks like he's really ready for Roman. And this time, he looked good for their first match, but I think this time they're really going to make him really shine out. So Roman, they actually show some competition for Roman because obviously Roman is their number one guy right now. They're leading up to WrestleMania, like I said. But with Randy, building up and them making him destroy random people and everything and put them, on the injured list or whatever, it's really going to be good for both, for the whole feud, for both Roman and Randy, because it'll both make them look stronger, whoever wins. And even if Randy doesn't win, he still looks strong, and it wouldn't matter if Roman beats him. Roman needs it more than Randy. because Randy has already had 12, I think it's 12 or 13 titles. WWE titles. I can't remember if it's 12 or 13. I know it's close to John Cena, but it's either 12 or 13. And like I said, Roman needs this more. Roman's younger, and they need to push him more because Randy's already had his chance. Randy's getting up into his end of his career and everything like that. So Roman, they really need to give it to Roman. Roman is the #1 guy for this. And even though I like Randy and I'm not a huge fan of Roman, I do think that Randy needs to give this win to Roman. Next is Natalya versus Paige. And of course, AJ Lee comes out, and she takes the title, the Divas title, and she skips around with it, and she goes out to the ramp. And Paige obviously doesn't like this. She starts breaking out that she's stealing her title, and she gets out of the ring, and she runs, and then Paige sets it down and says, "Here you go. Here it is. It's all yours." And Paige has to run back in before the count out. And that makes Natalya put her in the sharpshooter, and obviously Natalya wins. Another distraction. And even though I'm not a fan of AJ, she's a great talker. I'm not going to lie about that. I can't stand her. I hate her whole character and everything. The girl can talk, though. She can cut a mean promo just like her husband, CM Punk. She is one of the best diva talkers that I've ever seen out of my 12 years of watching wrestling. I have not really seen most divas, they can talk and everything, but like AJ is probably one of the top 5, I would say. She's just her promos are so real, and she puts kind of like real life situations in it. Like that the promo she did, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and she pretty much said to Paige, "I don't play little girl games. I don't smile at someone and then whisper behind their back. If I have a problem with you, if I don't like you, if I want to talk crap about you, it's going to be to your face, like a real woman." I loved it. Fans got behind it. Paige got a little bit scared there. She was just like, "Oh, maybe I should back off and everything." And, it's just AJ. I can't just not give her credit, even though I don't like her. She is good. She is great. She's bringing the Divas division back to life, her and Paige both. And, it's just they fucked up with sorry about the language, they messed up with so many people. Like Naomi, they pushed her and then they destroyed her again. I haven't seen her in, like a few months now? I haven't really seen Naomi. And they gave this huge heel push to Cameron and started letting her in. That made no sense because Cameron can't even wrestle. And, people give crap for Eva Marie can't wrestle, but Cameron's been on the main roster longer than her, and I think Eva Marie's catching up to her. And Natalya, when she did have the Divas title, she only had it for 2 months. So it's like they're finally doing something right and having 2 great divas feud with each other and getting people behind the Divas division again, and stop saying, "Oh, I need a Divas match, piss break, snack break," whatever they say, all the time. This is just, it really gets the Divas division going again, and it makes fans care, and I love that because, the Divas division, I hope it's around for a long time. And especially with NXT, Charlotte coming up and Bayley, they can all wrestle. All the NXT and Sasha, they can all wrestle in NXT. They're finally actually getting these girls that can wrestle instead of models and people they just find on the streets and stuff in magazines. Instead of like having divas look their best and go for looks and everything like that, they're finally thinking and like, gee, maybe we should have a diva that actually can wrestle and look pretty. Divas don't have to have like skinny bodies and look like perfect. Look at ODB and stuff, and they had Karma too. It's just like, why did you like her? I heard Karma was kind of in backstage. She was hard to work with. She didn't want to change her gimmick and everything. So that was that problem. But it's still Natalya. She's gorgeous and she's muscular. Caitlin's gorgeous and she was muscular. I'm really upset that Caitlyn retired anyways. But it's just like they have all these girls, and it's just like they'd rather, push them, the little, like, Cameron, who's just a drama queen, and she just loves to put on makeup and everything like that, and she can't wrestle, and it's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. But I'm happy that they're finally getting this Diva division back into track like it needs to be. Next is Stardust and Goldust versus Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. And Goldust and Stardust win again. So obviously they're going to be the #1 contenders for the against the Usos for the tag team titles. And I'm not really sure what they're doing with the Wyatts right now. I was sure that they were going to win. I was sure that they were going to be the tag team champs. But obviously that wasn't the case. They obviously want Goldust and Stardust to be the tag team champs and have it one more time. So then when they lose it again, they're probably going to lose it at Royal Rumble. They're probably not going to keep it very long this time. So then if they really want to do this Goldust versus Cody match, brother versus brother match, they need to do it, and they need to set it up for WrestleMania. And I think that would be a perfect time to do it, so they both turn. For me, I think Goldust needs to be the heel this time, and Cody should be the face. But it's probably going to be Cody as the heel and Goldust as the face, because Goldust is the more fan favorite, and his character, I mean, I know he's been heel before, back in the day, but it's just, it would be easier to turn Cody heel again, and I really, like I said, I want Goldust to be heel this time, but it's still going to be a good match, and I'm excited for it. I think a lot of people have wanted Goldust versus Cody for a while. They're finally going to do it, I think, this year, especially if they're setting them up to win the titles. And the Usos have already had the tag team titles, I think, for like 6 months now, half a year. So it's about time. They haven't really defended it either, It's just like they make the Usos, we get behind them and everything, we're excited, and it's just like they don't do anything with them. They don't let them. It's just like, oh, why? If it was me, if I was behind creative team, I'd have every single title defended every single month, every single pay-per-view. And then I'd start putting in filler matches. They just put in, like, all these matches, even on the pre-show. It's just like, if you want to put, like, the Divas match or the Intercontinental or the U.S. or whatever, or the tag team titles on the pre-show, that's fine. But at least have it be for the title. Let all the titles be on the card, Don't just put a filler match in that could have been for, that makes no sense and they have no feud, when it could have been for a title match, it's crazy. And I know they like to have, the few matches where they feud, and that's good. You're supposed to have 2 or 3 non-title matches. But it's just like they have all these filler matches that don't even make sense, or they just feud for 2 weeks and then and it's just done, and it just makes no sense. So I really think that they need to defend the tag team titles more. Same with the U.S. Sheamus has not defended his title. It's just like, it's crazy. So hopefully they don't mess this up with Dolph, because people love Dolph Ziggler. And the last match, Miz versus Roman. This was a fast match too. Randy came out right in the beginning of the match, and he watched it, and he kept distracting Roman. And Roman did end up winning still with the spear. And then Randy, actually, this really made him look strong in the middle of the end of the night. He got in the ring, and they just started going at it. He didn't cower out like a joke and everything like that, like most heels do, and go in the back. He actually got in the ring, and they started fighting. And it was shocking, and they just started beating each other up, and it was shocking because it was great, and it's going to get more people excited for this feud. I feel like people, they're not like in love with it. Like, I feel like they're not excited as they should be about this feud. Their match was good. It wasn't bad or anything at SummerSlam, but it could have been better. And so that's why I'm really glad that this feud is continuing, because it's just like, what, you're going to have 2 main event guys who have so much, character to them, feud for 1 month, and then that's it? It's just like, it wouldn't make sense. So I'm glad that they skipped the Triple H thing, at least for now anyways. Who knows? Triple H will probably be fighting for the title after WrestleMania against Roman, by the looks of it, because I know Triple H probably wants that title one last time. Anyways, it's going to be good for both of them, because it's just like it wouldn't have made sense for them to feud for 1 month and then have Triple H feud. I mean, yeah, they could have been like, oh, you didn't get the job done, so I'll do it for you. But obviously Triple H was going to lose too, so then what was going to be next for Roman? I mean, they have to space this out so they can set up Roman versus Brock for WrestleMania if they really are going to still do that. So they're obviously going to have to, have them feud with a few people for a few months. And it's just, and eventually I think that Roman's going to feud with Seth too after WrestleMania for the title. But like I said, SmackDown was decent. It wasn't bad. It had some good key points to it. And it's gotten ready for some feuds and everything like that. So that's always good too. Not a whole lot of promos except for just the Randy one. But it's getting more people excited for the feuds and stuff like that. So I do recommend SmackDown. I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. It wasn't bad. It was watchable. And don't forget to subscribe to us on the channel. And don't forget to hit that like button up. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter. And don't forget to like our group on Facebook. I'll put all the links in the description. I just want to say one last thing before we end here today. I want to thank everybody who has supported me as being a host. I know I'm not the best talker in the world. I know I say a lot. I'm sure I did today too, and I didn't even notice it. And like I just did right now. But it's just, I'd rather be kind of a host and know what I'm talking about, because I do know what I'm talking about. I've watched wrestling for 12 years, and I give a lot of good points, and I give a lot of good feedback and everything. So, and that's why that should be the main reason why you watch my videos. It shouldn't be that I'm the best host in the world, or it shouldn't matter on your hosting skills. Yes, it's good to be a good host, but if you want to be, it's like what if you're an amazing host and you don't know what you're talking about? It's just like people are not going to watch that for very long. They're going to be like, you're really good at it, but it's just like you have no idea what you're talking about. So in the long run, I'm glad that, I am getting better. I know I'm not the best, but you guys support me and you guys make me do what I love doing. And for that, I am not going to quit anytime soon. I don't plan on quitting anytime soon, and I'm not going to plan anytime soon. So, for anyone who thinks I'm going to quit, I'm sorry to tell you that it's not going to happen. You can bring me down, but it's not going to happen because I have supporters, and I have lovely, wonderful viewers that support me. And I want to thank all of you guys for making this happen. I will see you in the next one.